have our men on board, those to start the new season with. And the boss returned. The boss is here with us, and all of us are happy to have him. Coach, you are welcome.
Steve, thank you, Steve.
5 weeks out feels like forever for us in the club. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How excited are you to be back after this period of absence?
Very excited. I've actually missed everyone in the club, the supporters, the players, management members. I've mixed everybody. And I'm also so excited because during the off-season, we played against Hasselhoek. And then the few players that were able to put together, they were able to put up a master showpiece that brought us a victory. So I'm so excited. That's what I have to say for now.
We are equally excited to have you back.
Thank you.
At least your presence means a lot to the team, and for that wonderful video that live phone call that you had with us before the start of that game. Coach, new boys arrived, and then there are new names, new faces in the club. Are you impressed after your first two sessions with these boys? Though you knew them 6 months ago, you knew that these were the boys that you were bringing on board. But seeing them closely, working with them, what's your general impression about them?
I think they are very good players. Technically, they are very good. They are able to exhibit the basics in the game, the basic and the advanced technical characteristics of the positions that they play. They are comfortable on the ball. They are fast. They are strong on the ball. And you can see that they are very, very confident as individual players and as a group. So I'm happy I tracked them, and then I've been able to get them. I think they are going to give us a new face with respect to our performance. So I'm happy we've gotten them.
Quality names and quality material, players you feel like they have the potential to do well, and then it's manifesting on the field of play are two different things. But whenever you go to the training ground, we hear the fans rooting for certain players, applauding them. If whenever you see those kind of signs, and what does it communicate to you as a technical man? Is it that the supporters are just sharing things like that ordinary supporters would do, or there's something about the game that they have also noticed?
I think it's an indication that what they want is what we have brought to their doorsteps. If you look at some of the individual players, they are players that I think they themselves as supporters were having them in mind, thinking, hoping and praying that the coach will also be able to identify them. And fortunately, I think our thoughts and their thoughts also met, and we'll be able to bring these players on board. If you look at a player like Emmanuel Entry, he's one of the favorites of the fans. So when they come to the training ground, anything he does with the ball, even if he makes an error, they see it to be normal. And it's a clear indication that the players and the supporters are all at the same page. And what actually it is communicating to me is that the supporters have some confidence in the players, and the players also have confidence in the supporters. If you look at the way they trooped to the training grounds yesterday and today, I don't think in recent times we've been seeing this. It's something that we've seen, I think, for some years back.
But a very long time ago.
I think my first coming
it was something similar.
Yeah, it was something similar. But for now, I think the numbers are so huge that I'm even amazed. So it's good.
Okay. I've had an interaction with some of the fans, and all of them seem to be singing the same chorus in terms of uh, the players that have come on board and how you guys manage to pull those deals off, especially players like Samba, Kamara, Entry, as you mentioned, and then Amwa. Ordinarily, no one will even think to that extent that a player from a club that has been relegated and a player who has won the player of the season on numerous occasions in Burkina, Escapa, and then that of Ablo. When did these negotiations start? How did you even pull off?
Yeah, I think as a coach, when it comes to trying to scout, you engage a lot of people, and locally, I've been watching the league apart from our own matches. I've been watching other matches just to have a fair idea of most of these players, so that when it comes to scouting, I will be able to identify those I think that fit into the way I think and feel and believe that football should be played, which basically we call the football philosophy. So I've been following our league to watch some of these guys. In addition to have colleagues or have scouts who are also monitoring the league, and then they also do this for me. They try to also try as much as possible to pencil players they think that fall within my way of thinking and my philosophy of play. So what actually happens is that at the end of the day, we try to come together to look at what I have, what they also have, and then we try to see if, for instance, we are able to identify, let's say, 4 players for a particular position. What we do is that we look at them in terms of merit. So if, let's say, is let's say a DM, a defensive midfielder, we look at whether he's technically good, he's comfortable on the ball, he can receive the ball under pressure, will be able to connect with a teammate, and then we'll be able to support the teammate. When we lose possession, his ability to recover, which we call recovery run, his ability to run back to position, and then his ability to also recover the balls. We look at these things. So let's say 4 players in this position. You look at it, and then you look at who comes on top, and then you begin to rate them and grade them. So you say that maybe Kofi is A, Kwame is B, Kwabena is C, and let's say Kwaku is D. So you try to look for them. So if you go to A and you don't get A, you go to B, you go to C, and you go to D. And then for the foreign base too, it's the same thing. I have colleagues who are also outside. And then
I learned from, not to cut you, I learned from your assistant that a player like Samba is one player you've been following for the last 3 years.
Exactly.
And then you wanted to bring. So
Exactly.
how did you? What was the magic? Because the last time I saw you in a long chat with the technical director, that's Coach Kwesi Appiah.
Yeah.
We were discussing a whole lot.
Yeah.
How does your team, like, you come together and just make things happen? This is something that the supporters would like to know.
It's all about cooperation, communication, and coordination. As I said earlier on, if it comes to the foreign-based players, like somebody like Samba, I have people who are also international scouts that I tell them that I need a player for this position. So they also monitor other leagues in Africa and then the players in these leagues. So depending on the technical characteristics and the physical characteristics that I put forward for them, they also try to look for a player who fits into those physical the profile. They fit into the profile. For Samba, as you said, I've seen him for long and I've been yearning to work with him. That's one thing that I like about him. Anytime you engage him, he tells you, Coach, don't worry, I'll make you proud. He's always ready to work. He's very determined. He's very confident. So I spoke with my boss, which is Kwesi Appiah. I spoke at length about him. And then he being an experienced person and a more senior person, when I told him the profile of Samba, he easily bought into it. And then we decided that we have to sign him straight away without even looking at him, because he also trusts in my judgment. So fortunately he came, and then his first game, he was able to make it, and he's continuing making it at training grounds.
Yeah. Could you talk about that game, but being home and looking at your team short space of time to prepare for that game, first of all, were you confident that your team will pull this off, and the sort of football that they exhibited, was it just how you envisaged the game to be?
Yes, I expected it to be that way, because, as at that time we had pruned the team, and then we had only a few of them. And as a technical staff and as management, we were very confident that those we had left behind were going to live up to expectation. Remember, those we left behind and those we brought on board, we had to engage in a dialogue so that we'll be able to make sure that those who come in can also fit in there. And then again, we have this youth team, the U17. So because the numbers were not there, so we decided to now bring in some of these U17 boys to also come and augment the team. And unfortunately, we had a few of the signings, and then Elvis Chiba for Emmanuel, Entry, and Co to come and make it a complete team. And then we decided that we'll make things simple for them with respect to their training content. So we look at some basics in the game, just pass, receive, move into space. The game is all about field occupation and then using spaces on the pitch. Basically, it's about taking decisions. So we decided to make it simple for them by letting them understand that just receive the ball, look at your teammate who has moved intelligently into space, pass the ball to him. If there's the need to give him support, and let's make it simple. And I think that was what they did throughout the period, and then they were able to exhibit it on the field. And one thing that I think we did that worked for us very well was the rate at which we kept giving them confidence. Yeah. We made them understand that it's possible they can do it, and that they shouldn't be afraid of the errors that they will make. They should just express themselves. So that continued belief that we had in them, the continued showing of confidence and belief that we have in them, I think also made them confident, and they were able to express themselves. So basically, I think it was a collective effort from the technical staff, management, and the players. There was one thing I saw about them, and that was the desire to play. They were ready to play. Or they themselves knew the importance of that game. Exactly. Yeah. So that was enough motivation for them to go and excel.
Coach, you mentioned the youth team. Session of our fans that came to watch them play, a lot of them were of the view that you will have a selection headache in the future, because the sort of competition that those boys will be giving the senior players, they feel it will be difficult for you. And if you look critically at these players, what they have, the quality, I'm amazed at their level, the sort of football that they play. Have you thought about these things and the youth team? Is it possible that in the season maybe you will introduce any of these boys based on what is required at a certain point in time?
Yeah, I think what you've said is the truth. We took our time to do a lot of screening. What we actually did was we made the coaches to go out there to observe the leagues, to go to the league centers and observe the games. And out of that, we're able to pencil a whole lot of them to come and justify their inclusion. We basically use two criteria in selecting these boys. We use skill and then physical, quality. Like, can that young boy be able to receive and pass the ball and move intelligently into space? Fine. And then in terms of physical characteristics, we're looking at the physique, especially height. Because if you look at the European market, height is a key component or a key factor in the transfer market. So what we did was to come with a baseline requirement for height. So we decided that every youth team player that we will recruit, the height should be 155, 155 centimeters. That should be the minimum height and entry requirement for the height. So once we got these two basic things in place, we brought them in and then we screened them. And that was why we're able to get these boys. Now, if you look at the quality we have, what you said is actually the fact. These boys are so good, so intelligent, with and without the ball, that sometimes, like you said,
especially Solomon and Benjamin.
Exactly. These are excellent boys. They are very good on the ball, and without the ball, they are very good. So basically, the aim of this project is to make sure that we can transition some of these players into the first team. You know, per the FA regulations, I don't know, I stand to be corrected if it has not been changed. I think 10 under 17 players can have the opportunity to also play. Okay. So we'll register these boys in the system, and then as the league unfolds, we'll let some of them have a feel of it. So what we want to do is that we'll look at them, and some of the time we'll ask some of them to come and join the first team and then train. And then where it is possible, we give them the opportunity to play. So I think we have started very well, and I'm sure some of these boys, if we give them the opportunity, they will rub shoulders with some of the first team players like Solo and Co. They are just yes, they are just very good players that if we motivate them and then if we counsel them very well for them to stay focused and then for them to stay confident, I think they can play. For them, the only thing that I think we have to do is to make sure that anytime we give them the opportunity to play, we make sure that they will be able to cope with the pressure that comes from wearing the red shirt.
Okay. There's been a bit of confusion on the streets of the internet. People are confused as to why a team starts preseason and the next day they are kicking ball and they are playing 11v11. How do you explain this to those who are confused? Internally, we know why it's like that.
Okay. Right. I don't think we are doing the wrong thing. We have the conventional way of training, having a preseason, where in the pyramid of training, you start with the physical training component, which is running, jumping, all those things. You start with that one. From there, you come to the technical phase. Then you come to the tactical phase. And then you blend that of the theoretical and the psychological phase in all these things. So the traditional way of doing a preseason is first you start with the physical component of training. Then you come to the technical. Then you go to the tactical. And then you blend it with the theoretical and then the psychological, which is already established. Now, there is another way which we are using now. We call it the reverse osmosis method, where you start a preseason with ball work. So the first phase becomes the technical phase, the second phase becomes the tactical phase, and then the last phase becomes the physical training phase. So that is what we are doing now. So we are now in the first phase where we are doing a lot of ball work, technical training. Technical training, we start passing, a lot of passing drills, a lot of small-sided games, a lot of, 11v11, just to make sure that, exactly, just to make sure that technically they are comfortable with the ball. Then we'll go into our game model, which will be the second phase. Tactically, how we want to play. So after that, when we are getting closer to the start of the season, then we'll go into the physical training phase, which will basically will be to build on their speed, their strength, agility. Those things will work on it. So that is why they are seeing it. There are even coaches or situations where the coach does the preseason, the whole preseason with the ball. Yeah. You see, if you are playing in a small-sided game, let's say 3v3 plus 3, constant changeover. Yeah. In, let's say, in a 20 by 25 meter area, you have these 9 players there. These players will have to be moving all the time. The intensity is high. Yeah. There's no occasion within, let's say, if you are doing it, let's say 3 minutes times 3, which is after every 3 minutes, they break, they rest for, let's say, 1 minute and then come back. Within the 3 minutes that they are in this grade, the grade is the working area. Within the 3 minutes that they find themselves in, there's no single moment that a player will have the opportunity to stand. They are always moving. They are constantly moving. And as you move, it helps to build your endurance. So it is building your endurance, it is building your awareness, it is building your decision-making process. Okay. So even within these small-sided games, you can, as a coach, you can be able to build on the endurance level of these players. So we are on the right track. We are on the right track.
We have a present for you on your right side, on your table, as a sheet, and you have, if you can show it to the camera.
Yeah, this is the fixtures.
You have your boys there.
Yeah, the fixtures.
They look ready.
Yeah, they are. This is Albert, and then we have Elvis Chiba for Awuchi, and then Abdul Rahman. Yeah.
The GFA announced the fixtures for the new campaign. We are a month away from the start of the new season, and this is your first round encounter of the fixture. Your first comment on it?
I think it's good. We have to be ready to meet any of these teams at any time, anywhere. We should be able to play them and get the results.
Mm-hmm. You are kicking off the new campaign at Tamale with Karela, a team that unfortunately they took 4 points from us last season.
Yeah, sure.
And I think there can't be any better way to make a statement that starting from there. And looking at the teams there, if we're not the coach of this team or like my ordinary fan, which of the games will you be yearning to be, no matter what the occasion is? You want to watch that game?
Yeah, I think first will be Hasselfolk, because that has been the traditional rivalry between.
Yeah, that's week 13.
Yeah, week 13. Yeah, and then you have Aduana, which is also a big game. Yeah. You have Mediama, which is also a big game, and then Brecum Chelsea is also a very big game. In fact, all of them are big games.
So these are the games that ordinarily you stop whatever you are doing to enter the stadium to watch as a fan.
Absolutely, because these teams that I have mentioned, if you go to Takwa and you are playing against Mediama, you know the atmosphere there. It looks so hostile. It looks so aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about. Sometimes it even goes beyond the 3 points. So many things happen. It adds some excitement,
a bit of spice.
To the league, because
every one of them
exactly
pick the 3 points.
Exactly. You are going to Doma, and you get to Brecum. From Brecum going to Doma. Everywhere. Yes, everywhere. The moment the bus gets to every town, it's like, hey, Yabeshamo. Yeah. So you can see the readiness. And as a coach, if you see some of these things and you think that you have prepared your team very well, it even makes you excited, because you know that you are going to play a match of your life. And then if you are playing Hasselfolk, you don't need to be told this. I mean, it's a match of a lifetime. So these are matches that I think, and even Karela, You know, Karela, matches between Karela and Kotoko has not been easy at all. Since their time at Enyinase up to going to, what do you call it, Tamale. And as you said last season, they took 4 points out of the 6. So coming season, I'm sure is going to be a very, very big game, especially being the first game. I'm sure we need to be very prepared and then make sure that we'll get there and then get the job done.
Which we want to run up with you. And you have a game on the 16th with Mediama. What sort of opportunity does that game present?
Huge opportunity because we've now assembled a different team with almost all our key targets now in now. So I think it's good for us because we'll have about 2 weeks to train, and then whatever we have done, we'll have the opportunity to go and exhibit it at Mediama, and it will give us as a technical team and as management a fair idea of these players individually and what we have to do. Remember, after the game, we'll be left with only 3 weeks for the league to commence, and 3 weeks will be enough for us to correct individual errors, group errors, and then team errors. So to me, playing against Mediama in a new stadium and looking at the old rivalry between Kotoko and Mediama at Takwa, I think it is going to bring the best out of the players, the best out of the technical staff. So it's a good match, and it's a good game that we are going to play, and I'm sure that it is going to help both teams to be able to assess their signings and what they have to do moving forward.
Which, aside Kotoko, I would want you to pick your 4 contenders that you think they have what it takes to also challenge for the league job.
It will be very difficult because almost all of them are good teams. I think almost all of them. So I don't want to downplay on any of them. So I think we'll leave it like that. Yes.
Right. Your message to your supporters.
I would like to encourage all of them to support the team, because as we speak now, it is His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II, the King, who has taken over the running of the club, and he's doing everything possible to rebuild and reposition this mighty club to its former glory. So I would like to plead with all the supporters from near and far to bury all their differences and rally behind the King and the club, so that the purpose that the King has for this club will be realized, so that Kumasi Asante Kotoko can rub shoulders on the African continent. It is the dream of the King that one day, the Africa trophy, which has eluded Asante man, will come back to this glorious kingdom. So I plead with all of you to bury your differences and come together and support this great and mighty club, so that this team will become greater and mightier than before. Thank you all.